All right, everybody, we are live for an amazing book that launches today. Sassy, Classy, and Badassy. Does not describe a lot of us women. So my name is Heather, and I'm with She Rises Studios, and it is a tightrope for a lot of us, especially, when we're juggling being mom, entrepreneurs, wives, and a little bit of everything. We have these different roles in life, and we have to pull from our different attributes and our different personalities at times to make it all happen. So welcome these three amazing ladies that are examples of authors in this amazing book, that really can give perspective for women trying to figure out how to have that balance of sassy, classy, and badassy all at the same time, right? So I'm going to kick it off with Mercedes, who joining us from the UK. It's evening where she's at in comparison to us here in the US. So Mercedes, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and what makes you sassy, classy, and badassy?
Hi, how is everybody? I hope everyone's good. It's really hard when you ask that sort of straight up, like how do you put it into words? But it's just about having that courage to kind of step out of your comfort zone and do what it is that you actually really want to do. And someone always said to me once, I said it recently, about how you can be successful by not having a plan B. And I realized that kind of like all through my life, I've been an entrepreneur now for 16 years, and I've kind of never had that desire to ever think about getting a job. And I don't know why I looked recently and I was like, oh my God, I don't think I could get a job now. I was like, I don't even know. I looked at the job market. I was like, I don't even know what these jobs are. Because I've been out for so long. And I think that's part of it is you just have to be able to think, right, that is not my life. This is my life, and have the courage to do it and to jump into it.
I love it. So, Miss Lori Graham, Boss Babe Creative, how are you today?
I am fantastic. How are you, ladies?
Good. So you want to share a little bit about what makes you sassy, classy, and badassy?
Oh, man. So a lot of times when I'm speaking or and I'm in front of a crowd, I'll tend to tell them my little disclosure. I'm half holy, half hood. I've been through some things and I've seen some things, but my intent and my passion is to always empower people. But when I decided to jump on this collaborative, I wrote down some things. So to me, sassy equals your passion. It's something that you were born with. That, a lot of moms will say things like, oh, my, daughter or whatever, so sassy. Like, it's that passion, it's that grit that's inside them to go after what they've been created to do. And then classy is just your purpose, your class, your confidence about what you want to do. And then badassy is when you're actually facilitating in your purpose, when you're doing the thing that you've always wanted to do. And so for me, it just being part of this amongst all these amazing women, it's just really pushing forward and knowing who you are and walking in your calling, which I think so many times as women, we don't do for whatever. There's a lot of different reasons. But for me, that's what it means, is just being who you're meant to be and being proud of it.
All right. Love it. Thank you for sharing. So, Miss Jen Day, welcome to the party. We're so excited to have you along for the ride and part of this project.
Thank you.
What makes you sassy, classy, and badassy?
Like all of us, we've all been through something, right? So sassy, it's wet right now, but it's red. So sassy, I had down since basically birth, and don't contact my dad. He'll have stories that will go for another book, like, right? So, but classy is probably the one that I really needed to identify with during this process. The badassy came out when I became a single mom. So that was like my superpower. And then I was a Harley babe for a while. Not since I moved to Florida. It's very hot down here. But when I was in New England, I rode a bike bigger than most of the dudes in my riding group. So I was like, oh yeah, that badassy's been in there for a while too. It came from my dad's father's side of the family. But the classy component of it actually was something that I had a hard time with at first, because I thought I needed to spend my time proving myself. So in my childhood, I grew up in a household where I was best seen but not heard. And when I did speak up for myself, it didn't really go well. And I had a lot of ridicule from family, never mind outside sources of my weight. And so I just sort of played small. And then I let some of that just keep defining me as I grew up. And so I chose a career in corporate construction where I was comfortable with dudes, but I also had to like constantly prove myself. And it wasn't until September of 22 when I was laid off from my last position that I was like, okay, enough of this crap. Now what? And let's heal some stuff. And, you know, once you start going down a certain road, and I had already been part way down the road, I off and on throughout that growth period of my, you know, youth, but I had been through a really significant relationship loss. And in that, I was like, all right, common denominator is me. So now what? Let's do a deep dive. And when I did a deep dive, it came more along the lines of all that crap from childhood came back. Not a big surprise, right? But and I did it from a somatic standpoint. So like my nervous system, how literally jacked the F up was it? And it was bad. And I was in chronic freeze or flight mode, really. So, but I had to go back and figure out like where that came from. And in the process of that, I realized there's a lot more to me than just this having to prove my worth badass side, like got to keep up with the dudes concept. I was like, oh, I get to be a chick and a pretty badass one. And stepping into that feminine, if you will, was like, oh, that's where the classy kind of was hanging out. I always thought it was I think I had a different version of what that meant in my younger years. And to be able to now surround myself with powerful women who could also mentor and share that with me was a beautiful gift.
I love that. And I love the fact that you kind of touched on, you know, undefining, redefining, and finding you, you know, and that kind of like Lori was saying can kind of go along with the sassy, classy, badass attitude. You know, the sassy is kind of undefining, breaking those rules, standing out, right? And then redefining, you know, can kind of fall into that classy of defining really who you are. And then finding you is really that superpower, that badassy too, you know? Mm. So, Miss Nicole Curtis, my co-part at times. So why don't you tell everybody what makes you sassy, classy, and badassy? I already know, but share.
Well, first of all, what's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. I am so excited to be here. You ladies are so beautiful. This book, when I read the title, I was like, sign me up. Clucking yes, here I am. So I'm Nicole Curtis. I'm the Crazy Chicken Lady. I'm part of the leadership team at She Rises Studios. I'm an 11-time international best-selling author. I'm a speaker as well as, like I said, the Crazy Chicken Lady, because I love chickens. I'm infatuated with them. I have chickens myself, and I love all things chicken. But anyway, sassy, classy, badassy. So much of my life, I've always been told that I was too bold. I was too outspoken. I had too much of an opinion about everything. And I oftentimes had complaints where I tell people too much of what they need to hear versus what they want to hear. I'm just a very honest, upfront individual. And so when I saw this chapter or this book, Sassy, Classy, Badassy, I was like, heck yes, sign me up. Because for sassy, for me, it's not just standing up in my power and being confident within myself, but it's the resilience that has really defined who I am as a woman and how I treat others and how I show up in my community, how I show up for clients, how I show up with my husband, my kids, family, all of the things. So I take that loud, bold, aggressive me and I put it toward that resilience of facing adversity and just facing challenges head on and refusing to let them define me. So that's what sassy is for me. For classy, it's really the determination, the perseverance that I continuously show up in my life, that there's no obstacle that's big that I can't climb or that I can't achieve or that I can't walk through. And really driven by just the relentlessness. Like, I will walk through fire to make something happen. And I think for a really long time growing up, being told that I'm too loud. And then for a while there, I actually really like became introverted and became really quiet. And I think I was just really shell shocked that it really messed me up to the point of where, with the badassy part of it, where I didn't embrace who I was. I didn't embrace my authenticity of me. And so for a long time, I kind of like clammed up. And it wasn't until like my mid to late 20s, I really started to gain my power back, find my power back, I should say. And then learning to love me for who I am and what I'm like, who I am, what am I about, what are my passions, what are my desires, what are my goals, and then aligning every little piece and bits of my life with that, and really just standing in the authenticity of who I am. So, I mean, I'm the crazy chicken lady. I speak it, I teach it, right? And so for a while, like having that obsession with chickens, like I was terrified to speak my truth with that, to share that about me. But it's who I am. And they actually taught me so many different things, and that's for a different story. But so sassy, classy, badassy is resilience, determination, and embracing your authenticity. And so I am just so honored to be here with you ladies. I'm so honored to be in this book. And thank you, Heather, for being here and leading this panel discussion with us, ladies. So love you to bits.
Thank you, Nicole. And I think that is super important, that authenticity. A lot of us, shy away from it. I think all of you have talked about different times where you're just like, I'm just going to embrace this, And that's really the beauty of this book, is really showing people that there's all different ways to approach it, right? And by sharing your stories, they can gain strength to step into their own authenticity, is what we're hoping for. So why don't we go back around, and I want each of you to say the title of your chapter, and then one tool or one lesson, whichever you choose, that you hope people take from, your chapter. So Mercedes, how about you?
Okay, so my chapter is actually about stepping outside of your comfort zone. And the biggest thing I want people to take away from is actually the only way you actually make progress in life is by making those steps and jumping outside of your comfort zone and actually taking that risk, because it's so easy to kind of shrink into what you're used to, and you have to keep pushing. And every time you get into that comfort zone, find the thing outside it that you can do that's going to keep pushing you, and that's where you're going to see the most growth in your life.
All right, I love it. Welcome, Robin. We have another author here. Welcome
Hello.
to the discussion. Hi, thanks for joining.
Thank you.
So I'm so glad you're here. We went around a minute ago and just told everybody what makes us sassy, classy, badassy. So why don't you fill in what makes you sassy, classy, badassy?
I think I've always marched to the beat of my own bongos, and just I've always been kind of a loner, but I'm kind of branching out now in my later years, I guess you could say. And I guess I just want to meet more people and create more friendships in the future, and meet more like-minded people.
Yep, I love it. Being unique and sharing your journey and hoping to collaborate with others and grow. Great. So I'm going back around. I'm going to be asking everybody the name of their title of their chapter, and then share one lesson or tool you hope people take away from your chapter. So Jen, why don't you let everybody know the title of your chapter and what your lesson or takeaway you hope is?
Yes, my title is From Resistance to Power. And in and of itself, the chapter is a growth chapter for me personally. I have stepped up to the plate multiple times. And then if somebody disagreed with me, I would back away. And I was like, oh, enough of this nonsense. So I had an opportunity in April of this year to really step into a place where I was surrounded by people, like-minded people, that could support a weekend growth component. And when I was there, I watched other people also have that doubt, that fear. Mine was a little bit around body image, but it was just like being unsure. And so these people were like, no, this is where you're supposed to be. You need to be authentic. You can do this. And I just resisted for a good portion of the first day or so. And then once I realized that I was not the only person there experiencing little moments like that, I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. It is, you know, the concept of being able to support each other at different levels. You know, you might be a couple of levels ahead of me. Someone could be a couple levels below me, or, you know, various components. And the support component of everyone together was the biggest key of it. And so by the end of the weekend, I was like, oh, no, I'm not going home to play small anymore. This is exactly who I want to be. This is exactly what I want to do. And so my mission in the chapter itself, and what I do, is to help people do that deep dive, to figure out what it is that's holding them back. But I had to do it first, right? And that's oftentimes what happens with all of us. There's a component that you're like, and I didn't necessarily have the support I wanted, or I didn't know. Because in my case, I tried different modalities, but I didn't know what I needed. And we don't know what we don't know. So I wanted to be able to help other people and give that gift back. So my chapter literally was inviting people to go in and figure out what it is that holds them back at various levels. But I use my life experience to really touch on that. So my vulnerability component, I think, is what helps people that I am surrounded by to relate to me. Mm-hmm. And that is one of the biggest gifts that I can give back now that I allow myself to do that.
I love it. All right. So Lori, share with us the title of your chapter and any message or tool you're hoping people take from it.
Yes, thank you. So my chapter is From Corporate Girly to Boss Babe, keeping it classy, sassy, and just a little badassy, right? So my chapter was really is really for the woman who finds themselves stuck, whether they're just stuck in life, stuck in a corporate job, and they are called, like they literally know that they are called for more, but there's so many different elements in our life, like the way we were raised, or something somebody said, or maybe something somebody's currently saying to you, that really holds us back and causes us to be so unhappy with where we're at. And the reason is because we're not taking that step of faith, and how they can take that step. They can move towards their purpose, and they can do it in a classy, sassy, and slightly badassy way without feeling any regrets, and really just enjoying the process, and also what not to do. I had so many things I failed at in my transition and building my business, that I would have loved to be able to pick something up and to read somebody actually giving me permission, besides the family and friends that were around me saying, you can do this, because sometimes we don't always listen to the people that are closest to us. But even to read a book that says, look, I know you can do this, and you have to trust what you've been purposed to do. And so my chapter is for that woman who just feels stuck and knows there's more. And hopefully that will be that little nudge for them to get them to go chase after building the business or the life that they love.
All right. Thank you. Robin, can you share everybody the title of your chapter and maybe a lesson or a tool you hope people take from it?
My chapter is called I once was lost, but now I'm found. All I had to do was look in the mirror.
Oh, I love it.
Thank you. I think my chapter is basically about, well, I was in a 25-year relationship, and it was not a good one. And so at the end of 25 years, and half of it was probably not great, It was very controlling and everything. So I thought, I'm doing everything I can to try and make this work. And there's no accountability on his part. And he always made me feel like the bad one, the crazy one, this, that, and the other. And finally, I came to terms with, like, I can't be in this relationship anymore because I am very close to just, you know, giving up on life. And I think if you have to change yourself to be with someone else, then it's not ever going to work, ever. You're going to be miserable. So you have to take steps, and hopefully you can make it work outside the relationship. And because I basically left Egypt, maxed out my credit card, and came back to Canada.
Yeah.
And it was a big leap of blind faith.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being raw and honest, though, because there's a lot of people that do need that lesson, right? They need to know their worth, and by stepping out and being bold, right? And making that step. And so
And I
think
was scared to death, but I still did it.
Yeah, that's going to be a great lesson for some that need to hear that, right? Finding themselves, standing up for themselves. All right, Miss Nicole Curtis, take it away. What's the name of that chapter, and what's one lesson or tool you hope that women will find?
My chapter is called Rise, Shine, and Cluck and Grind. And for me, I think for the tool is a lot of how I've gotten sassy, classy, and badassy is really digging into, I guess, giving myself permission is first and foremost, but then also allowing myself to go on a journey of self-discovery and personal growth. That is what has helped me be the woman that I am, do the things that I do, show up, serve, respect, honor, integrity, character. Like it's just, I think all of that has really helped, is what has helped me become who I am, and has really helped me be that relentlessness, right? And that determination, and just being me and loving myself for who I am and where I am in my life. So I think really it's just it's those two things. And then a little bit deeper is believing in yourself and really loving yourself, forgiving yourself, respecting yourself, really becoming self-aware of who you are and what you like and what you don't like, and what you want and what you don't want. And I really love Robin for sharing, just being authentic and sharing your heart and sharing who you are and sharing your journey, because all of us women have stories and testimonies and things that we have overcome, hurdles that we've had to jump, mountains we've had to climb, valleys we've had to trench through, right? And so I think it's really just those stories that really help us be able to connect with women. Like I think that's just how we connect. And so Robin, thank you so much for sharing that part of your story with everybody, because I know, I can guarantee that there's a woman that's watching or is going to watch this replay that has experienced that, or has experienced what Lori was talking about with being at a job, or wanting to become an entrepreneur, or wanting to have that faith or that trust in themselves, and just demolishing that fear to take that step. Right. So, or there's probably women that are struggling with their weight, like what Jen was talking about, right? Like we all have these things that actually honestly intertwine us and connect us all together. And so, so just thank you, ladies, for sharing pieces of you and being part of this. And so anyway, that's me.
And there's 12 different stories. I mean, here I have 5 ladies, right? But there's a total of 12 different stories in this book that are all extremely raw, authentic, real people that are willing to share all of their different sides. And so if you're a woman out there and you're looking for a way, you feel like you want to be more sassy, classy, badassy, you want to feel like you can identify with others, you're looking for some answers, some guidance, this is the book for you. That's the reason these ladies have come together and written it, is we want more women to step into their own undefined, what we're supposed to be in society's eyes, redefine who we are, find ourselves and help others step into their own. And that's the great purpose for this book. So thank you, ladies, for taking time to jump in this room with me today. Congratulations. The book is out. You can find it on Amazon and ebook. Paperback is coming. And I just can't wait to see what change this book brings. All right, ladies, have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.